We have several eruptions in the Svartsengi volcanic system, and none of them actually have threatened the Blue Lagoon and the Svartsengi itself in the term that they erupt under it. Blue Lagoon is a world-famous first-class spa, hotel, restaurant complex, and it accepts guests from all around the world. Anybody who goes to Iceland definitely visits Blue Lagoon. So important also in that sense. When we have the magma accumulating under the Svartsengi, always we see that after a while it drains in another location as an eruption. So in this case, in the latest one in February 2024, we saw that the magma erupted under another location nearby in the Sundunga craters. As you can see here in this diagram, the blue part shows that the drainage of the magma and the red part shows that the eruption. And in all the risk assessments that we had so far, Blue Lagoon and Svartsengi were not threatened. The only time that we had a tongue of lava from following the slope of the ground came around the Svartsengi and actually was stopped by the wall. It didn't reach even there. And there is a theory to actually explain this, why Blue Lagoon and Svartsengi themselves are not a victim of eruption from within that area. This theory says the storms of the earthquake, which start in that region and magma accumulation under the Svartsengi, actually compacts the cracks and the fractures and fault lines under the Svartsengi and Blue Lagoon itself, like what you see here. We have uplift and then downfall, uplift, downfall. All this uplift and downfall actually has closed down the cracks and the fractures that can actually be a pathway for the magma. Magma needs to melt the rock through the earthquakes. But this area is all the time compacted, like a compactor that we use. The earthquakes and storms of an earthquake act like a vibration plate of a compactor, practically closing the fractures, fault lines, everything that when the magma wants to rise to the surface, it stops the movement of the magma upward under the Svartsengi itself. But because the area around it has active fault lines, the ones that are open in the mid-oceanic reach, they are not compacted and they are a pathway for the magma to rise to the surface. We look at this and you can see here also Blue Lagoon earthquakes are not actually those ones related to the rising of magma, are not actually on the Blue Lagoon or Svartsengi itself. This is the moment the dike is active and the dike wants to rise pathway. And this is the zipper effect. When we have the eruption, for example, in the December, then January, then February, all the time this movement of the plates creates at the edges this kind of eruptions. The crest of these fault lines you see here between those eruption points is actually safe because there is nothing there there is no pathway for the magma. The magma rises through the veins, through the cracks, upward and erupts, but not through the crest. That's the compacted part. This is again in this model you see that under Svartsengi and Blue Lagoon we have the laccolith forming. It's compacted, it cannot rise from there, so horizontally it moves and find a pathway through the fault lines and erupt. This is the pattern we have seen through the uplift data that we have from the GPS data. All the time we have seen this pattern. Magma rises under the Blue Lagoon and Svartsengi, then flows sideways and then erupts either in this system, Svartsengi, or maybe next time somewhere else, like Elvdorp volcanic system, or like the one that we have, Vegadesville volcanic system, but not under Svartsengi and Blue Lagoon itself. That explains why there is no eruption in the Blue Lagoon.